Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, and thank you for joining me for Daily Spark with Dr. Angela. I'm your host, Dr. Angela Chester. Well, today we are talking about weight loss on Daily Spark, and we want to enlighten, inspire, and empower you to become your best self. Now, I know you already know it, but say it with me. The tongue is a small thing that makes grand speeches, but a tiny spark can set a great forest on fire. So today we're getting fired up about weight loss because we all need to make sure that our bodies are in their best condition. So I know it is now autumn or fall, and we're thinking about all of this wonderful comfort food, but we still need to keep our bodies in summer condition, and that's what we're talking today. A comprehensive weight loss program that addresses the full spectrum of the issues that we have to deal with. That's emotional, that's mental, as well as physical. And they might be even contributing to some of your struggles with weight loss. Well, Dr. Laytrayal-Simmons is going to help us get unstuck. Let me tell you a little bit about her. Dr. Laytrayal is a licensed psychologist and professional counselor with over 15 years of experience in providing therapy to individuals as well as families. She has earned her PhD in counseling psychology in 2012 from Howard University. Yay, yay. She previously earned her master's degree in 2002 from Georgia State University in professional counseling. She has worked in a variety of settings, including prisons, college counseling centers, community health centers, and private practice. She has helped clients at different stages of their lives, from adolescence to early retirement age. She currently has her own practice in Washington, D.C., where she and her staff provide services to the local community, schools, families, couples, and working professionals in our nation's capital. Her practice focuses on adolescents and adults of all ages. Dr. Laytrayal is highly passionate about overall health and takes a holistic approach to working with her clients, and I love that. Her practice includes therapy, career coaching, and a fitness wellness program that assists clients with meeting their mental and physical fitness goals. So without any further ado, let's bring on Dr. Laytrayal-Simmons. Hello, Dr. Laytrayal. Thank you so much for joining me here today.
No problem. Hello, Dr. Angela. How are you today?
I am well. Thank you so much for being here. Now, I love talking about not only mental health, of course, but I love talking about how we can take an holistic approach to taking care of ourselves. People don't really realize how it's all interconnected and so important. So my first question to you is, how did you come up with the idea of doing the weight loss program?
Okay, first I want to thank you for that great introduction. Sounded wonderful. But to tell you a little bit about what motivated me to do a weight loss program, when I went back to grad school, I had a lot of stressors going on in my life. I wasn't the traditional student. Most of my cohorts were in their mid-20s. I was in my mid-30s. And so I had been living life and had responsibilities. And so when I decided to drop everything and return to school full time, I had to figure out how to kind of manage my finances and make this shift from a career person to now a student. And during that time, I gained some significant weight, right? And so it's not that I was eating worse, but the weight just piled on. And so when I got an opportunity in grad school, when we started talking about, well, what is your dissertation going to be, it resonated with me. I was like, wow, I'm struggling with this weight for the first time in my life, and I know that it's connected to the stress that I've been experiencing. And so from there, I decided to focus my research and my dissertation on how the emotional factors impacts our ability, well, in us gaining weight, but our ability to lose weight and maintain that weight loss.
Mhm. Mhm. And I think you really hit the nail on the head there when you talked about stress. I don't think people really equate one with the other, or they don't understand how stress makes their behaviors change, and they just kind of do stuff that we shouldn't do. And I know there's someone out there raising their hand saying, "Yep, I'm an emotional eater. I get stressed and I reach for that bag of chips," or you get some extra comfort food to really kind of settle yourself. Well, your experience with weight loss, it's always wonderful when people can share that. So we know that you have created this program, but how did you kind of blend the two together with your personal story and creating programs for others? How do you share that with your client base?
And so what I share with my clients is that, even in my practice prior to having a focus on weight loss, I had many clients that would come to me that were suffering from depression and anxiety. They wasn't managing their stress properly. And as a result of that, they had an increase in weight. And so just by default, we would create goals to help them deal with their weight, because in addition to kind of the depression, now they started to feel poorly about the weight that they had gained. And so I noticed a need for it early on, but it wasn't my training. I didn't have kind of the experience that my clients was having, or the struggles. I knew it was related because our physical health, right, if it's poor, can impact our mental health and vice versa with mental health. So when I'm stressed, there are physical symptoms of stress. It could lead to high blood pressure. It could lead to IBS. And so it's all interconnected. And so for me, and I know that I've struggled with many of those things, and so when I meet with my clients, I'm able to be empathetic with them about the struggles of losing weight and maintaining that weight loss. And so I share my story and my knowledge just about mental health and how it interacts with your physical health.
Yeah. I think that really does help, and it kind of creates a bond on a more personal level, that the person that's utilizing your services understands that you have utilized your own services, so to speak. That this was created out of love. That you understand. You've been on the other side. Yeah, and it really and truly is important. Now, taking the holistic approach, and not just, we realize that we have to move our bodies, and that is so important, because we live such sedentary lives. So everybody listening, yes, you need to definitely move your bodies. But I love how you also have the option of being able to work with a psychologist. What are the benefits of having someone to help you with the mental health aspect of it in the weight loss journey?
I think it's the missing piece that has been missing from weight loss programs all along. And when I started doing the research, I would hear, we're providing weight loss counseling. But then as I dug deeper, I didn't even have to dig that far. What weight loss counseling meant was, I teach you about counting calories and exercising. Okay, all of us know that we need to reduce our calories, right, and exercise to lose weight, right? So we don't really need someone to tell us that, right? We already know it. We've been down that road, right? And so why is it that even though we know this and we know what we're supposed to be doing, we're still not losing weight, right? And so I was like, it's obvious, right? Why are we not utilizing or incorporating, right, the mental aspect of weight loss, the emotional piece, right? Motivation is an emotion, right? And if I don't have motivation, right, when people say willpower, I said, it's not about willpower, right? You know, that's kind of an arbitrary kind of emotion. If there's a lot of things going on in my life and I'm stressed, right, no matter, I can go to the gym every day, but if I'm holding on to stress and cortisol, my body is not going to let go of that weight. It's just not, right? It's like you're like beating your head against a brick wall. Or you lose the weight, and because you haven't dealt with the emotional piece, it comes back, and it comes back more, right? And so I had this slogan was that if you work on and lose that emotional baggage, eventually the weight will follow. And so when my clients come in, I say, listen, you know, this is not a quick fix weight loss program, right? We're going to focus on the things that are interfering with you doing what you know you need to do to lose weight. And once we conquer those, you process those, you let them go, and then you learn new coping strategies, then it'll be easier to stay motivated, right, and have the willpower to lose the weight and to keep the weight off.
See, there's somebody saying, preach, Dr. Laytrayal. Yes. Because, that is so true. And I love how you just said when you lose the emotional baggage, the weight will follow. That's a nugget, folks. That is a nugget. It is so absolutely true. And the celebrities that we know that have talked about their weight loss journeys, one of the things that is a common denominator in everyone's story is that there is something that happened, that they were holding on to that they were believing an untruth or an incident that happened, they were holding on to it, and it showed up on their thighs, on their waist, wherever it was, but it was showing up. And we really and truly do need to take this more holistic approach, because it will do wonders for you. And there might even be some things that you didn't realize when you're utilizing this particular aspect of your service. You may come across some things that you didn't even know was keeping you in this rut, in this state. Well, we need to, right before we go to break, Dr. Laytrayal, please remind everyone of the name of your company and where they can find you.
Okay. It's Reignite Psychological and Consulting Services. We are located in our nation's capital, Washington, D.C. You can find us on the web at reignitepsych.com. You also can reach our office at 202-595-9003.
All righty, listeners, you heard it. We need to take a very short break, but when we get back, we're going to continue with Dr. Laytrayal-Simmons. We'll be back right after this. And we are back. Thank you so much for joining me for Daily Spark with Dr. Angela. I'm your host, Dr. Angela Chester. Today we are talking about weight loss from a holistic point of view, a 360 weight loss program. Our guest today is Dr. Laytrayal-Simmons. She is out of the Washington, D.C. area. So, Dr. Laytrayal, we've talked about the psychological benefits of having someone there to help you along your journey. We've talked about your personal story and how that makes it, such a bonding experience with your client base, because it's great to know that you've walked in my shoes, that you understand the struggle that we're going through to get this weight off of us, as well as how we feel. You made a really great note earlier that you already feel some kind of way about the weight, but if you're exercising and you're not able to get the weight off, you feel you have a totally different experience, and that's something that we need to kind of address as well. So how is your weight loss program different? You kind of touched on that. We see the commercials on TV, join this program, come here, count calories, don't count calories, carbs, no carbs. How is, and it just gets kind of crazy, and folks don't know which way to turn. So how is your weight loss program different from all of the other programs? Why should we try your service?
Okay, so my program is different in the sense that the first thing is that when you come in, we're not getting on a scale, right? And the other piece is that I'm going to let you know that, hey, I'm with you along the way for this journey. I'm going to be that source of support, right? That accountability coach that's going to help you understand why you have the weight and why you can't lose the weight. In addition to me, we have a staff of people that are here to support you. So not only do you have me, the psychologist, working with you, we have a coach, right, a boxing coach and a personal trainer on staff that understands how the emotional piece impacts someone's ability to stay motivated, right, to lose the weight. And so we work together as a team to support an individual in their weight loss journey. And so that's one of the major differences of our program is that when you come in, I'm saying, listen, I'm here to support you. I'm here to support you in your process and in your journey of losing weight. And all the struggles, the days that you feel like, oh, I'm on top of the world, but then the days that you have a relapse and you feel like you need some support, we're available. We're available here to assist you in not only losing the weight, but once you lose the weight, we're still here to help you maintain that weight loss until you fully create new habits in your life and feel like you're confident enough to go back in the world and to maintain this new lifestyle that you've created.
Mm-hmm. I love that you have all of the various areas covered so that you feel that, wow, this really is taking care of all aspects of that. Now, is when someone comes in and they say, I want to sign on the dotted line, I'm ready to utilize the programs that you offer, is talking about the mental health aspect, dealing with the psychological part, is that optional for a new person, or is that a part of the entire program, and we're definitely going to go over that?
So the depth of how far we go is optional. We're going to have a kind of initial assessment to understand kind of when you begin to have challenges with your weight and what were the stressors and kind of your coping strategies at that time. Right? Because that's going to be key to me and my staff helping you, right, deal with and create new coping strategies because it's a behavioral weight loss program. You know, it's kind of like, you know, the behaviors that you need to do to lose weight, what's preventing you from doing that? And so without me having a little knowledge about your past, it doesn't mean that we're having mental health therapy. It's just you need to give me enough information to understand you and your history and get to know you so that I can create a program to help you meet your goals.
So for that person out there saying, well, I don't want to go see a shrink and do crunches at the same time, well, that just totally and completely squashed that. So see, you're not having therapy sessions. We're just doing some assessments. So that has crossed that excuse off of your list, and definitely let's tackle it. Well, you said something at the very beginning that I thought is awesome, and that is you don't start off the program stepping on the scale. It's not about that almighty number, because some of us would be surprised, first of all, when we actually step on the scale and see what the number is, and it's potentially more than what we thought, but it's also a determinant. You know, I have found that in my just controlling my weight and making sure that I am as healthy as I can possibly be. We know the difference, even if we don't step on the scale. We know that we feel better. We know that our clothes are fitting us better. We feel the energy. We feel the lightness. So that is definitely a benefit that you are sharing with your clients. Now, how would someone know that they're successfully completing your program? How do I know? Are there little stepstones along the way?
Okay, so I feel like it's an individual experience. So we offer group right? And so there are other individuals that come once a week and share their own experience and journey and the strategies that they've attempted to incorporate in their lives. But the individuals that have been successful, I know they're successful when I listen to their conversation and how they speak about food, their relationship with food and their health. It's not always, you don't always see it on the scale, right? But their conversation, they will say, hey, I've only lost 5 pounds, but you know what? I'm in control of my relationship with food. I don't feel compelled when I'm upset. Like they have an awareness of, hey, I'm stressed, and I'm reaching for, that cake because I'm stressed. But I have an alternative, right? I know how to deal with my stress without using the food, right? And so they become mindful, and we all hear this term mindfulness. They become mindful of what they're doing, right, and why they're doing it, right? And so once you have an awareness and insight into why you're doing something, it's easier to change it because in the moment you're going to pause, right? Because in the past we're just stressed. And so we go and say, oh, I'm going to treat myself to this ice cream, and we just eat it, and then we don't feel the guilt, right, and we don't think about the consequences until after we've done it. And so once people are pausing and thinking about it, I know that they're on the path to reaching their weight loss goals.
I like how you said that people become mindful. They really, it's so nice to see the light bulb go off for people. That is so true. I don't need this cake today. I don't. I don't need this extra cookie or this extra rib or whatever it is. I can deal with this from a different perspective. So I know with weight loss, people have these expectations, and that's something that you're always going to talk about no matter what type of therapist you are, is what are your expectations and what are realistic expectations about any program that you start. So my question is with results. Since this is, we are exercising and we're trying to lose weight, what should be someone's realistic expectation for results of any type of weight loss?
Any type of weight loss. So I'm going to say my average client has worked with me for about 6 months. And so it ranges, their weight loss have ranged anywhere from 10 pounds to 40 pounds, right? But what I tell clients about that number is that you're not thinking about inches, right? You're not thinking about how you're feeling. Has your energy level increased, right? And along the way, what my clients find when they're working with me is that they decide what they find is healthy. That's a healthy weight for them. They stop kind of ascribing to what the media, right, and what others, or even their doctors, because if we think about the traditional BMI, they start to think about, well, when was the last time at what weight and what size did I feel good about myself and that my health was at its optimum level? And oftentimes people will find that it's not at the goal weight that they're trying to reach. And so they adjust and modify that. They stop trying to look like everyone, they stop trying to look like the model. And they just try to find their happy and healthy space.
I like how you said, ask yourself the question, at what weight was I when I felt good about myself? That is so important, because I think about now, if we do go according to that chart, or if or we say, I want to be the same weight I was in high school, that might not look good on you right now. Exactly. And that's really, really, really important. As a cancer survivor, if I went back to my high school weight, folks would think that I was sick again. And so that's
Yes.
that is really important that we do have a realistic expectation of what it is. That was a great point. Well, before we go to break, just in case we had some folks that came in a little bit late, Dr. Laytrayal, please share with our listeners again, how can they get in contact with you?
Okay. My practice is named Reignite Psychological and Consulting Services. We are located in Washington, D.C. You can reach us on the web at reignitepsych.com or through our phone, which is 202-595-9003.
Alrighty, listeners, we need to take a very short break. When we get back, we're going to continue talking about 360 Weight Loss Program with Dr. Laytrayal-Simmons. We'll be back right after this. And we are back. Thank you so much for joining me for Daily Spark with Dr. Angela. I am Dr. Angela Chester, your host, and today we are talking 360 weight loss programs, a comprehensive weight loss program that addresses the full spectrum of the issues that we deal with weight loss, emotional, mental, as well as the physical aspect. We call that holistic health care. So, because I know we throw around all of these words and people are like, well, is it really? Yes, because she is looking at all aspects of your life, not just one form, but all three forms. We are talking to Dr. Laytrayal-Simmons of reignitepsych.com. And I love that, reignitepsych.com. I love it when folks come up with really great names for their business. It gets me fired up because I realize that you have taken some time and thought about what you want people to do, and who doesn't want to get fired up about weight loss? Because we all need to do it. If you are no longer 22 years old, and even if you are, we need to make sure that we are in our best shape, that we are our best selves, and it's time to reinvest in us and taking a little bit of self-care. So, Dr. Laytrayal, why did you choose? You have so many different aspects of what you offer with your program. Why did you choose to include boxing in your program?
Okay. Number one, I loved it. I started doing it, and I found myself really enjoying the time that I was in the gym. But what I also noticed is that when I would meet my clients, I would joke with them and say, I'm diagnosing you with exercise aversion, right? There's a lot of us out there that are just, we have an aversion to exercising, to getting on a treadmill and looking into space and going nowhere, right? It's not fun. Right? And so we're not motivated to get up and do it every day. And so I wanted to provide an activity that was fun, right, that you learn skills, right, because boxing skills can be used for self-defense, and then it's a whole body workout, right? And I was fortunate that the coach that I worked with was available, right, to do some contracting work with my practice, because he's very humorous, right? He's fun. He knows that everybody is not trying to be professional boxing, and he understands the additional benefits that boxing can bring to someone else's life, because a lot of times my clients walk away with this confidence. Right? He gives them this new name, and they have swagger after they've worked with him for a while. And they're like, "Oh, I know how to throw a left hook, right, and put together a combination." And so people feel good about themselves, and they're having a good time, and oftentimes they're losing inches and gaining muscles without even realizing it. I know one of my clients that got really committed to it in 6 months. She wasn't even noticing how her body was changing. She was paying attention to the scale, and then one day she looked up and she was like, my clothes are too big, and people are commenting, right, of my tone and my muscles, right? And so she just got really excited and motivated even more to continue an activity that you enjoy. It may not be boxing, but I encourage my clients to find something that you enjoy and look forward to doing.
Mm-hmm. And, I think it's really funny how, as women, we think that we're not going to enjoy that. I don't want to hit someone. I don't want to. There's a difference between boxing and fighting. You're not fighting, but in learning, and it's like, of course, we're not going to teach you how to fight. It's boxing, which is totally different. And you really do. There is something about being able to feel stronger in your consciousness. It really and truly empowers you, because I know some other programs that were out there, and it was exercise as well, and all of a sudden you saw these ladies that really felt like, you could take on the world because you've learned how to do these moves. So I know that in your program that it really and truly does empower people, and it strengthens them to take on all the other challenges, and it really is important. With that being said, there are so many benefits to exercise when we look at it from a mental health perspective. How do you explain that to your clients when they come in, the reason why you're providing mental health service as well?
Mm-hmm. I encourage all my clients, even before I took on the weight loss piece, that was the first line of defense and strategy that I provided for my clients that came in that was dealing with stress or anxiety or depression. I said, exercise is the first line of defense because it creates and produces those feel-good chemicals, right? And it helps reduces the cortisol, right, that gives us physical symptoms of being anxious. Have you ever had a really bad day or week, and then all of a sudden your shoulders are tight, right, or your lower back, or you have a headache? That's all the physical symptoms of being stressed or anxious or even depressed. And so the best way to deal with kind of the physical symptoms of emotions is to exercise, right? It's the exercise. It gives us that relief. We can sit on my couch and talk and process what you feel and deal with the mind, but in order to help your body deal with the emotions, you need to get moving.
And I don't think people really put the two together. They don't realize that moving our bodies is really going to make that much of a difference until they experience it, that they really and truly do need to kind of just trust the process. And I know we hear that a lot as well, trust the process, but it really and truly does work. And I don't think people think that many times the headaches, and I know that you mentioned that the headaches is a part of stress. They're thinking, oh, it's probably because I didn't eat, or I just had a lot on my plate today, or and they're not looking at the whole picture of how what they're doing or not doing, for that matter, is really and truly affecting them. That was a great point that you made. Now, I know that, still kind of staying in that mental health vein, what if you find that there's someone who's coming to exercise, but they're having some roadblocks as far as their mental health is concerned? Can they schedule more time with you with that aspect of it? Like, instead of coming in twice a week, can they come in 3 or 4 times a week to see you?
3 or 4 times a week. And so that's a business question. So depending on the insurance, whether you're self-pay, right? Because, a big goal and a big reason that I opened my own practice is that I wanted to make mental health accessible to everyone. Because my average client, right, is a working professional, right? They look like me. Right? It's not that they have this mental health diagnosis. It's just that the stresses of life sometimes get to be too much. And you need a space and an outlet, right, to process and deal with the challenges that life brings, right? And so I created an avenue where it's affordable. Therapy is an investment, right? And so you have to be committed to the process. So that means that you have to come at least once a week initially, right, for 3 to 4 months. And so it has to be affordable for someone to want to commit to that process. And so it's been fortunate that through insurance and through the Affordable Health Care Act that many people only have a small copay and therefore can commit to therapy and getting the help that they need.
I love that. That was a great answer. And people need to realize that it's like I'm paying for this one because I just want an extra session. And I love that. Get yourself. It is an investment, people. It really and truly is an investment. We invest in so many other things. We need to learn how to better invest in ourselves. Now, with therapy, there may be someone who kind of came in on the tail end of my time with you. So I want to kind of spin back around to the beginning, and that is, how does therapy work with you? How does your program work? So I've heard about you. I'm in the front door. What do I do now?
Okay. So the first step is just having an initial intake session with me, which is 60 minutes. And so it's an opportunity for the client and myself to get to know each other. I tell them a little bit about my experience, my approach to therapy, what to expect. So it's a little education about therapy and the process. I ask questions to get to know the client and to see what their goals are. And at the end of that session, we both make a decision about whether it's a good fit. Because the only way therapy is going to be successful is that something about your therapist has to resonate with you. You have to feel like that individual can help you, right? And so I ask at the end, based on what you've learned about me and my approach, do you feel like I can help you reach your goals? And vice versa, do I feel like I'm experienced and have the tools to help you reach your goal? Yeah. So that's the first step.
That is so important. And I love how you put that out there, and you remind people that it is a relationship, because you need to be able to be comfortable. That's a great reminder. So with the total program, you said that it is a once a week program, and that there's a certain expectation of, did you say about 6 months or so? For complete. Now, is it the type of where it's going to, you're going to get kind of like a list of what's going to happen at what time, or is it very more personalized? Like, I can only come at 4 o'clock, so at 4 o'clock that means I'm going to do boxing, and then when I come next time I'll come at 2 o'clock so I can have therapy. What can they expect in a typical day with you?
Okay, so it's more personalized. You know, after we have the initial intake and we create goals, we determine the time that you have available and what you need. And so at the minimum, you're going to either come to individual therapy once a week or you'll participate in the group. Some people do both, the individual and the therapy, and then they are coming to class, working out 3 times a week. And so they'll spend a lot of time here. They'll become family. They'll know the coach. They'll know the front desk staff, because we will see you 3 to 4 times a week. But if we think about it, you're spending 3 or 4 days a week at the gym, but at our location, it's a holistic approach. You're just not coming to work out. You're coming to have conversations with other people that are on their own weight loss journey and therefore learn from them. You're also meeting with the therapist, right, to deal with any challenges that you may have encountered during the week that you feel like may be interfering with you sticking to the program. And you're also working out with the coach. And oftentimes I'm in there with the coaching, right, so people can stay motivated to do the exercise. So you see a lot of me. Right. You pretty much see me every time that you're here.
I love it. It sounds like such a wonderful program. And those of you who are listening and you're nodding your head as well, we keep saying it because it's so important. You must invest in yourself. And why not invest in a program that is holistic, that's going to take care of all aspects of who you are? Now, last question for you, and that is, usually if you're going to a gym, like one of those ones with all the weights and all of that, then you need like your ID and maybe your checkbook to get started. Someone is saying, sign me up, I'm ready to go. What do they need to bring with them to start your program?
Just the interest and show up, because you know what? The first workout session and consultation is an hour, is free. You get a chance to speak with me briefly and to get a 30-minute workout with coach to determine if it's a good fit for you. And then we go from there. And so if you just have an interest and you're curious about this program, just give us a call, and we'll set up a time for you to come in and see what we're doing here and see if you're still interested in taking the next step in joining our program.
Yeah, that is so awesome. Listeners, the value that you get from a free initial consultation is really and truly priceless, because you like she said, you get time with them to make sure that it's going to be a fit without having to make any type of payment. That is really and truly awesome. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Laytrayal, for spending time with us here today. Thank you. I think our listeners have really and truly enjoyed this, and this has been a great reminder that even though we're not in summer anymore, it's still no excuse not to keep our bodies in top physical shape. Listeners, you have been listening to Dr. Laytrayal-Simmons, and Dr. Laytrayal, I want to make sure that you get a few moments again to remind everyone who you are and how they can find you.
Okay, this is Dr. Laytrayal-Simmons. My practice is in Washington, D.C. It's Reignite Psychological and Consulting Services. You can reach us on the web at reignitepsych.com or by phone at 202-595-9003.
Thank you, Dr. Laytrayal, for being here on the show with me today.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you, listeners, so much for joining me for another wonderful, wonderful show today. And I am Dr. Angela Chester, and this is Daily Spark with Dr. Angela. And as always, may the Lord continue to shine His face upon you. May you receive His grace and His mercy. Until next time, have an awesome week. I'll see you back next week. Goodbye, everyone.